Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another StarCraft Brood War upload. Today we have a game between BratOK and WhiteRa here on Destination. This is from WCG 2010, and let's get right on into it. In the top left corner of Destination, we have the purple Terran player. It is BratOK. And in the bottom right corner of the map, we have the teal Protoss player. It is the WhiteRa. All right, so WhiteRa versus BratOK, both players who made the transition over into StarCraft 2 when it was released. So I figure those of you who do not know much about Brood War might recognize these names. I remember watching a lot of replays by Husky back in Wings of Liberty that featured both of these players. One of the highest viewed replays on my channel is featuring WhiteRa versus Zephyr, like some unknown GM dude. But boy, did you guys like that replay. A lot of people did. So I figured I'd throw out a WhiteRa Brood War cast, as well as BratOK, who's a very, very solid Terran player, especially in Brood War, also in StarCraft. So it should be a good one. Should be a good one here on Destination. Got our APM in the top left, as is tradition, and this is our weekly pro-level Brood War cast. We do one of these and just a Lobi cast sometime during the week, depends on when I'm feeling it. So if you're just looking for regular Brood War, people who are maybe learning the game aren't quite at the pro level, that's what that's for. If you just thirst after the pro Brood War stuff, then by all means, come on in here. So we got an SCV here trying to take down a pylon by BratOK. It is powering both a cyber core and a gateway, but I mean, an SCV, it takes forever. It takes forever to do that. Is this actually, yeah, that's fastest times 2, so that's fastest. That's what we want. That is game speed, is fastest. Marine moving out here. Marine production continuing out of the barracks, the factory coming up at the same time for BratOK, and nobody expanding quite yet. I think that's what the scouting information is. The probe moving on in here. Oh, this is Destination. I watched some dude on Twitch back in, I want to say it was like 2009, practice holding off a lurker rush against Zerg as Terran like 37 times in a row. It was amazing. The lurkers would show up at a certain time, they'd burrow here, and he just practiced having his Marines and medics come in, target fire one down, target fire down the other one, and then move out, and then they would quit and start over. I mean, it was just clinical work by whoever that Terran player was. I don't remember who it was. I wish I could remember their name, but it just shows you what it takes in this game to prepare for every scenario and know how to respond to it by scouting it and having the correct counter for it. And that's something that Day9 talked a lot about did he talk about it in his Life of StarCraft? I want to say it was Day9 Daily number 100, where he brought up that particular story. He was playing in WCG in, I want to say it's like Indonesia, somewhere in Southeast Asia, and it was a major tournament with some really amazing players. He made it to the finals because, you guys, Day9 was a straight-up pro Brood War player. He was not messing around. That guy, you listen to him when he talks about Brood War, and he's starting to do that now on his YouTube channel just a little bit and on Twitch in between Hearthstone matches. And he says in the final, it was like the clinching game. If he wins this, he wins the whole thing. I don't remember if it was like if he lost the whole thing, but anyway, he said he scouted his opponent. He saw exactly what they were doing. He knew exactly how to respond, and he's like, and I just had this out-of-body experience where I knew what to do. My body took over. I made the correct units. I made the correct moves. My APM was high, and I won. And he won this major WCG tournament. Huge deal for him. Huge deal for his brother, Tasteless. And he's overcome with emotion. Talking about it even now, he's just super overcome. So it's just, that's what it is recognizing what your opponent's doing, preparing for it appropriately so you can handle it when it shows up. I mean, sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes that happens and your game's over in 5 minutes. Sometimes maybe the other opponent's not quite as intimidated, maybe a little bit more prepared than you are, and the game can't continue. But here we go. Widowmine's already burrowing outside this main base of WhiteRa. Zealot's getting some shots off on these Marines. Dragoons hitting at the same time. Tank does not have Siege yet. Is that what I'm seeing? Yes, Siege is being researched. He went for Widowmines first on that tech lab. On Machine Shop, rather. That is a Machine Shop on the factory. Serves the same purpose as a tech lab, though. Allows for additional production of units and additional upgrades. Some vultures hiding behind this mineral line that WhiteRa could expand to if he wanted. But so far, he's kind of one basing it. He's got an Observer. Does he have Observer? Again, there is hope. There is hope that we'll have a unit stab at some point on the Observer interface for Brood War Remastered. Oh, look, it is an Observer. Okay, so Observer moving up with Dragoons. They already have the range, I'm going to say, because that's the first thing you get as Protoss. And yes, this is all about clearing out Widowmines with Dragoons. Tanks do have Siege mode now. It is done. There's a single barracks at the front. There is a supply depot kind of walling off. You can see this wall that the tanks are going to hide behind against these the Dragoons who try to sneak up. And yeah, I mean, the tank fire means you're not going to attack into here against 2 tanks. Just not going to happen, period. Engineering bay floating, which means you don't need it for upgrades, which means we're meching. That is, again, the meta for StarCraft Brood War. At least it was back in 2010. And I am looking for current day professional StarCraft replays. I have searched high and searched low on several different replay sites, and it's just really hard to find high level pro stuff. So if you can get any of those from Today Times 2017, I will gladly cast them. I'll shout out for you. I'll shout out to whoever sent it to me, which reminds me that the subscriber who sent me these replays from 2010 WCG, he wants just a quick shout out to the foreign Discord server. That's the name, foreign, as we have a shuttle drop here in the natural base. And the NHFAA, trying to remember what that is. I need to look it up real quick. But meanwhile, the Scarabs do 100 damage per shot, which is not as cost efficient if you throw it down against a single Marine. It does cost 25 minerals per one of those Reavers Scarabs. Yep, 2 Marines is fine, I suppose. And, don't land. The Zealot going to get on top and a shot. Takes down the tank. This is looking really good for WhiteRa. All the SCVs are forced to run or suffer the wrath of these Scarabs right now. And they're all retreating. They're getting out of there. The tank is not able to do much, but picking up with this shuttle and boosting out his WhiteRa. So that allowed him to expand behind it. He killed a bunch of SCVs. I wish I could see worker count, but it is 53 to 65 total supply, where WhiteRa has a bit of a lead. All right, so let me do a quick search. It is the foreign Discord server. If you're familiar with Discord, it's just kind of a chat, TeamSpeak type client. Scarabs stay. Yes, they stay present. Do they stay present? I don't think that did any damage. I think that's just timed out and exploded. But they stay present even if the Reaver itself is picked up by the shuttle. Are you kidding me? How is this not showing up? Am I the wrong? This is the wrong email account. That's why my personal email instead of my Falcon Paladin email. So here we go. Discord search. And yes, NHFFA. I'm not sure if I said that correctly the first time. I'd have a hard time with straight up acronyms. But yeah, NHFFA on Discord and Foreign on Discord, where most Brood War players are gathering to celebrate the release of Brood War Remastered coming up in just a couple weeks. It is really not too far away. Also, if you're interested in Brood War, and you probably are because you're watching this, our podcast, me and Wade, the Falcon Paladin Hour, we are actually giving away a copy of Brood War Remastered to the person who gives us the most clever and entertaining review on iTunes. So there's a link in the description. Check us out. Subscribe. It's just once a week. It's an hour. The Falcon Paladin Hour once a week. Give us a review, and you might win a copy of Brood War Remastered. And who doesn't want that? Honestly, who doesn't want that? So Vulture's pretty much holding map control-ish right now. We do still have some Dragoons set up just outside the main base of BratOK. WhiteRa really doing a great job with his natural base right now, which is always so good to see. Somebody WhiteRa's age doing this well. I mean, that's the thing. WhiteRa's like my age, you guys. He is one of the oldest professional StarCraft players ever. He continued into StarCraft 2. I just like him. I like him a lot. WhiteRa's one of my favorites for sure. Even though he plays Protoss, I just identify with that guy a little bit. And he's good. And he's really good at the game as well. It's not like he's some scrub. No. WhiteRa is a scary, scary name in the StarCraft scene, whether StarCraft 2 or Brood War. He's back in StarCraft 2 a little bit, I think. I want to say I saw him post up to his YouTube channel just a few weeks ago, but hasn't been super active. Again, I understand he's getting older. Probably pushing 40 at this point. So dropping some tanks and some vultures behind this mineral line, but look at the Dragoon placement here at the natural base. Dragoons, can they hit it? They're going to try to take down this tank that unloads. Yep, Vulture dies too. And can they hit this tank is the problem. Reaver dropping, getting a Scarab off. Big time hit. Zealot finishes off the tank. And the dropship lives. Dropship still has 4 vultures inside. Going to try to come inside the main base, but there are Zealots ready to rock. And they pick off the dropship. Look at the range. Look at the range on those Dragoons when they have that upgrade. Insane. So one vulture makes it in, throws down a Spider Mine, and it's going to fire. Ooh. I think Spider Mines do friendly damage. So if they explode on an enemy, but you're nearby, that splash damage catches you too. So don't do that. Be careful. Be careful with that. Another dropship trying to sneak on down with just 2 tanks coming down this right side, but there is a pylon scouting this out. Pylon hanging out, does see it, and WhiteRa's response needs to be a little bit better here. He's not making a response. All right, tanks unloading Just unloading straight up, right behind the main mineral line of WhiteRa. No big deal. Production of an Arbiter already on the way for our Protoss player. Zealots getting here on the Vultures in the middle of the map. Meanwhile, tanks are pretty much unopposed. A Zealot does show up. Probe here to fight as well, and one tank does die. The other one gets out of siege mode and gets picked up before it's too late. Protoss army for WhiteRa sneaking up this left side, checking to see if there's a third base, I guess? Yeah, checking for a third base of BratOK, but there's not. Is that BratOK or BratOK? I just remember it being BratOK. I'm like 98% sure that's what it is. We're going to swing with it here. So clearing out the spider mines before they could, just barely before they explode and cause large amounts of damage on those Dragoons. Third base is coming up along the left side for WhiteRa. So after some early problems, he seems to be doing pretty well for himself. It's 120 supply for WhiteRa at 97 for a BratOK. I keep seeing these Widow Mines. I'm like, what's this purple stuff on the minimap? It's a tank. And some Widow Mines. Zealot! Oh, that Spider-Man burrowed. Or Spider-Man. That Spider-Man burrowed itself again. That was crazy. But the tank does get taken out by our friendly Reaver. I want to see how many kills this Reaver has, because he's been having a great game. They just don't get unloaded unless they need to be unloaded to attack. That's the best way to keep them safe, because they are slow and they are big targets, and your enemy will target fire them down if given the opportunity. If they're in a shuttle, you're not quite sure what's in there. You can be pretty sure that it's a Reaver. Sometimes it's Zealots, though. And what is this? Kakaroo. Yes, I'm like, kayak? Something like that. Kakaroo! Flying overhead. Third base on the way for BratOK on this left side, so not too far from where WhiteRa is. And we're starting to get up to these fairly large armies. Big old mech army out of the Terran player BratOK. A lot of Dragoons. Got ourselves an Arbiter. Finally got this one out for WhiteRa. And third base just happily mining. Got a cannon in the mineral line of the third base just in case some evil Vultures show on up. Is this enough of a wall to keep Vultures out of the natural? I don't think it is. Oh, well, it might be. It very well might be. But both players just hanging out. Nobody is feeling super secure, super ready to move out and attack into the enemy base. A lot of Spider Mines, a lot of Vultures here. No attack upgrades at all for our Terran player BratOK, and +1 attack is complete for the ground units for our Protoss player WhiteRa. APM up in the 200s for both of these players, and again, speed is not everything, but speed helps. You can do things, especially in Brood War, where again the workers don't rally. They don't rally automatically to mineral patches. That's one of the biggest differences between StarCraft 2 and StarCraft 1 is you have to manually tell every probe, every SCV, every drone that you make, look, here we go. 3 SCVs had built up before BratOK remembered to throw them to that mineral line. It happens, man. It happens to the best. We've seen that with Jadon. We saw it with Flash in last week's cast. It's just nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect at this game. Being perfect at this game is impossible. Maybe robots one day will figure it out, but even then, I don't know. Might be a while. I know I talk about AI a lot and how they're going to take our jobs, but professional StarCraft players I think might be safe for quite some time. So both players just essentially trying to max out. 169 supply for WhiteRa, 142 for BratOK. Big time increase in army supply over the last couple of minutes. And you usually don't see maxed out 200 versus 200 armies going at it. But the way these players are just kind of chilling, seems like it's possible. And the reason for that is you can't double pump anything. Every building can make one unit at a time. Same thing, you can't warp in stuff. As Protoss, it's just regular gateways, these little supply blocks, but a pylon just did come in to unsupply block him a tiny bit, but then back up to 178 out of, 187. There we go. WhiteRa knows what's up. Arbiter going to come in to this third base. Can he do the recall? He does. A lot of adepts and zealots showing up at this third base of BratOK. What a huge play. SCVs running for their lives. This command center taking direct shots from +1 attack. Dragoons, Vultures trying to save it, but no, this command center is gone. What a beautiful hit. And the Arbiter's still alive, mind you. Arbiter's keeping cloaked, but don't get in range of the missile turret. Arbiter, no, pull back. Pull back, Arbiter, no. Arbiter. Oh, they took down the missile turret before the Arbiter died. 1 hit point, 1 on this Arbiter. That's insanity. Tank setting up, the Arbiter just raining down fire because there's nothing here that can shoot up from the Terran army. That's hilarious. 0 kills. Again, it's a very slow attack. It's only 10 damage per shot. So we're going to try to finish off this refinery. And a tank and whatever the heck else is over here right now. But nice job taking out that third base. Just a gorgeous maneuver from WhiteRa. Refinery taking direct shots to its head there. Got a lot of idle probes here from WhiteRa as well. But he's gathering. He's gathering his units. He's moving them around, trying to see what is up. This Arbiter is just still sitting over here. Is there any anti-air? No. Do we see Goliath production from BratOK? Kind of. There is some Goliath production here. That is an excellent thing to see. And there we go. Vultures setting up all of those spider mines. Got ourselves a detector with the science vessel. Also can toss down EMP and remove all of the shields. That's the difference between StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. All of the shields for Protoss disappear when an EMP hits them. Not just 100 worth or 150 or whatever it is in a Legacy of the Void right now. All right, pushing in. Here comes the WhiteRa, trying to finish these guys off. Big hit on the Zealots, but Zealots are pretty tanky. They've been tanky since the beginning of time in StarCraft 2. Oh, there is some gameplay, actually. StarCraft released some gameplay footage from Brood War Remastered, and so check it out. Just search Brood War Remastered gameplay on YouTube and you'll find it. It's like the first thing that will pop up. So not re-expanding to his third is, I think, a problem for BratOK, but he's moving out. He's bringing his tanks. He's trying to set up a contain on WhiteRa on his 3 bases. Mech is all about being more cost efficient, about making good trades against your opponent and taking, wow, Widow Mine shots, Spider Mine shots to the face from those Zealots. Tanks along the right side getting murdered as well, trying to rebuild a command center. Here's BratOK. Not exactly where it needs to be, but I'm not entirely sure why that is. It's very confusing, but that's A-okay. Marching in. Tanks. Setting up. Are they in range? Are they hitting this pylon? They're hitting this pylon at the 3rd base there. And there was an observer, but no, got killed by Goliath. I wish you could zoom out just a teeny tiny bit. And remastered you can. Was it going to base race? Oh, WhiteRa is base racing. He's not trying to save his 3rd base at all. Oh, actually pulling back home is BratOK in this situation. Yeah, it seems like a pretty good idea because there are units, Zealots, Dragoons all over your natural base, getting up inside your main base. There are tanks defending, though, and tanks coming back the other way as well. Some Dragoons getting killed by Goliath. Dragoons trying to get rid of science vessels, but pretty good job pulling those back from BratOK. Natural base is going to be just a wasteland. These Zealots having such a great time here. +2 attack, doing 20 damage per stab on these guys. 2-shotting SCVs, no big deal. Couple missile turrets here. Another science vessel gets destroyed at the same time. So natural base, like I said, Ghost Town. Ghost Town for BratOK. So he's down to 1 base. This might be the death knell for our Terran player. I'm not going to call it yet. You don't want to call it too early. It's the StarCraft caster's curse. He did kill the 3rd base of WhiteRa, which is a really big deal. But once you've got units up in your production line, right, these factories are the lifeblood of BratOK right now, and every unit that comes out gets killed immediately because there are +2 Zealots and Dragoons shooting you in the face. Arbiter has 0 kills, but trying to assist killing SCVs there at the same time. And BratOK finally going to break through here, killing the Dragoons that were kind of holding off the defensive maneuver. Is he just giving up on his main base? Nah, I think he decided to head on down. He's heading on down south. And keep in mind, you can't select all of your units all together and just F2 A move like you can in StarCraft 2. You can select 12 units at a time, put them in different control groups, and it just takes longer to move your whole army down here. Plus, look at the pathing. It's all messed up. People get stuck on ramps. People get stuck on bridges. People get stuck on each other. It's one of the problems of Brood War, but that's one of the quirks that makes it so endearing, I would say. One vulture pops out, immediately dies out of that factory, and here we go. Gonna set, where are you gonna attack? Attack directly, oh, there is another base over here on the right side by WhiteRa. He snuck over here when I wasn't paying attention. So he's got 3 bases. If BratOK can break this, though, oh, they say never base race a Terran. They definitely say never base race a Terran, but tanks, +1/+1 in these guys. This 4th base along the right side, just outside the main, not easy to access. You have to come around the other side to get to it. Is going to die. There's just too much tank fire. Coming from the backside, though. Here comes a handful of Dragoons. Man, this is a good game. WhiteRa, I don't know if he has enough. No, he's forced to retreat. He is forced to retreat with all of those Dragoons, but the main base is just a shell of its former self from BratOK. He has a lot of supply depots, which a single Zealot is working on along with, I guess, that Dragoon. Look at the range on that Dragoon. That upgrade is serious business. Always get the range upgrade for Dragoons on your Cybernetics core. I wish I could remember what it's called. Is it just range? Might just be range. Might just be range. I don't actually know. Alrighty then. Siege tanks setting up shop. Firing scans saying you can't hide from us forever. It's 126 for the Protoss and 50 supply for BratOK, but it just looks like so much more. I think he lost a lot of SCVs is the problem. 3rd base is back up and running though, so that's good news. That's good news for BratOK fans here. And once again, it's just too close to call. Just too close to call. This is so many tanks. And the majority of the army for WhiteRa is Dragoons, which are terrible against siege tanks. They just get destroyed. They can't outrange them. They take extra damage from them. And just don't walk into tanks if you have Dragoons. Very similar again to StarCraft 2, where don't walk into tanks if you have Stalkers. Really not too much different there. Goliath getting rid of an Arbiter. Get out of there, Arbiter. No, man, his Arbiter micro in this game has not been great. He keeps losing them by not moving them out when they're being attacked. But again, there's so many other things to pay attention to. Yeah, we're effectively base racing right now. And he knows, yes, he knows about the space because he has a Dragoon on the high ground clearing out some of the mineral patches, some of the workers on these mineral patches, attacking into this natural. Oh, another base in the bottom left, though. When did WhiteRa take this? WhiteRa, you are a hero among men and StarCraft 2 players. I think BratOK needs to make a move. I really don't see this going well for him unless he makes a move. Another base up here that WhiteRa took. Okay, this is looking real bad for BratOK now. He needs to start killing stuff. He needs to start killing bases because he just lost his only mining base. And WhiteRa technically has 2 mining bases, including his natural, which is not mined out yet. Like, we are over 20 minutes into this game, and this is not mined out. It's actually insane. The music restarts there. It's always weird when it's super quiet. Always strange. I'm not sure what BratOK is trying to do anymore. He's kinda... His APM's still high, still at 268. Is this another base? No, not another base, but that command center is burning down. We're close to BratOK tapping out here. It's just in a straight up battle. I think he wins. With these tanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 siege tanks with Goliath support. He's taking out the space in the top right by WhiteRa. Again, WhiteRa can do virtually nothing about it, but he's starting to get his army back up. He's got Zealots mixed in. It's clearing out those spider mines. And he's going to lose this Nexus, but he still has 2 mining bases while BratOK is down to 0. So we're going to lose. There we go. Took out that Nexus. Big deal. Big deal, but it's not done yet. Creeping up, getting rid of that pylon. I think BratOK might realize, though, this army is looking pretty scary. Got the Arbiters, got the Zealots, got the spread. Is he going to attack up into this thing from WhiteRa? And here he comes. Here comes BratOK. Heading on down. WhiteRa coming to meet him. As he is brave to do. If you can get these tanks before they siege up, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. There's that EMP thrown down. Oh, but the stasis. Oh, the stasis on the tanks. A huge deal, and that's the good game. Out of BratOK, and WhiteRa is victorious. Ah, what a finish. What a finish. Coming in with the Arbiters, throwing down stasis, using the Zealots in the front to absorb the shots and finish off the tanks. And once that stasis went down, effectively cutting the tank force in half, that was enough. It was enough for WhiteRa. +2 attack on all of his ground units there. Arbiters playing such a huge deal. But again, taking out this third base was a massive play. Really swung the tide in the favor of the Protoss player. And WhiteRa is your winner today. So, whew, good one. I'm really glad I cast that one. It's been a while. It's been a while trying to figure out which one of these today I wanted to cast, and I am very, very pleased. Okay, so that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another StarCraft Brood War upload. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.